Hello and welcome. Check the stream. Hello, hello. Hello and welcome. So today we'll be looking into agnosticism. What is agnosticism? And why is it error? And why should we discuss the errors of agnosticism? So at present in the academia, in the universities, agnosticism is the trend. Agnosticism is the fad. Though it is not followed by majority of the people, it is followed by quite a number of popular personalities. Therefore, it is a go-to solution for worldview in the campus. When you go to the campus, agnosticism will pop up as the default because nobody asks you anything. If you say agnostic, they just stare and say, it's okay, it's not bad. But I am here to argue that agnosticism is bad, it's wrong, it's not tenable anymore. And you should not adopt atheism or agnosticism as your worldview, as your philosophical position, because definitely outdated. And we have solid evidence reasonably to point to a creator. Using the principle of sufficient reason, one can arrive at the conclusion of theism broadly, that there is a God who created this universe. So agnosticism is not a tenable position. Moreover, the arguments for agnosticism are very weak, and it is filled with errors, bias, faulty assumptions, and ignorance. What is agnosticism? Agnosticism is the method, and the agnostic method is what defines agnosticism. It is the position that matters pertaining to God and supernatural realm are either unknowable in principle or currently unknown. For some, agnosticism represents a personal acknowledgement of human limitations in answering ultimate questions. For others, it serves as a broad worldview that challenges both atheism and theism. Understanding agnosticism requires unpacking its definitions, historic roots, and its emergence as a popular intellectual trend. Definition and variants of agnosticism. Agnosticism is essentially a position that addresses human knowledge rather than belief. At its core, it asserts that the existence of God or the nature of God or natural or ultimate reality, all these things are unknowable. The term agnostic derives from the Greek word a, which is without, and gnosis, knowledge. Agnostic is one, therefore, without knowledge. So, how does that sound for academic who claims he has no knowledge? Agnostic. This definition highlights a deliberate refusal to claim certainty about topics like, especially God, supernatural, angelic realm, ultimate reality, or metaphysical matters. Agnosis claim that is rooted in the limitation of human reason. Agnostics always will look very humble, and they will claim have sufficient evidence, or we cannot know, or the concept of God is unintelligible, it is a wordplay, etc. Agnostic appeal to individuals or individuals who are unconvinced by the arguments for God's existence. So agnostics are individuals who are unconvinced by the arguments for God's existence. Therefore, they doubt. But it is a matter of principle, not that you can know and they doubt and they're searching for answers. No, they think they cannot know. So that is what is the problem with agnosticism. So, about God, when you say you can know or you cannot know, is also a knowledge about God. Okay, so it is very simple. So that is all. That's the contradiction. They say God is unknowable. Is also a knowledge about God that He is unknowable. So that is a big or the central contradiction in agnosticism. For these individuals, the most intellectually honest position is to withhold judgment. How does agnosticism manifest itself? There are variants of agnosticism. The first one is strong agnosticism or hard agnosticism, which insists, as I said, it is impossible for humans to know the truth about God or ultimate reality because God is unknowable. So that is a very absolute and objective statement they are making about God, but their claim is that you cannot know. So hard agnosticism is what I debunked through the central contradiction of agnosticism. So to say that God cannot be known at all is also knowledge about God. Okay, so that is what you should know. How did you know that God, something about God, which is that He cannot be known? So that is also a knowledge of God, and therefore, immediately strong form of agnosticism deconstructs or self-refutes or self-destructs. Weak agnosticism, on the other hand, maintains that while humans do not currently know whether God exists, such knowledge is achievable The third variety is apathetic agnosticism, which suggests that the existence of God is irrelevant. Again, you see, this is again talking about God, okay, claiming that the existence of God is irrelevant and any deity or God is unconcerned with human affairs. There is no, so according to these views, not relevant to our current situation, and therefore it does not matter whether he exists or not. Who are some of the prognostics? Huxley, the English biologist who coined the term in 1869, related agnosticism as a rigorous intellectual method rather than a belief system. He advocated for following reason and evidence wherever they led, while rejecting dogmatic certainties. Huxley's formulation laid the foundation for Gnosticism as a prospective intellectual position. Historical roots and development of agnosticism. What are its origins? Though the term itself was first used in the 19th century, the philosophical ideas behind agnosticism stretch back to antiquity. In the time of Greek philosophers, 5th century BCE, Protagoras famously declared concerning the gods, "I have no means of knowing whether or not, nor what they are like." Similarly, ancient Indian philosophers such as Sanjaya Velatiputta expressed skepticism about the afterlife, the divine, laying the groundwork for a proto-agnostic mindset. Why did agnosticism gain prominence in the 19th century? As the Enlightenment has shifted Western thought towards empirical science and reason, the methodology of knowledge, what is considered as valid knowledge, was primarily to employ science and reason. And using that method, some people claim that God or ultimate reality cannot be known. Thinkers such as David Hume and Immanuel Kant had critiqued traditional metaphysical claims, arguing that human reason could not reliably penetrate ultimate questions about God or reality. Second, that once the natural scientifically Charles Darwin's theory of evolution was considered falsely to substitute for God or supernatural, whereas it does not. And this theory, therefore, wrongly was framed to challenge traditional religious explanations of the world and led many individuals to adopt a skeptical stance towards theological claims. Thomas Henry Huxley formalized agnosticism as a what is the dogmatism of both religious believers and atheists. For Huxley, agnosticism was a creed, but a method of inquiry, a commitment and judgment on any matter for which there are insufficient evidence. In his view, it was wrong for a man to say that he is certain of an objective truth or any proposition unless he can produce evidence which logically justifies that certainty. Over time, Huxley's formulation gained traction among scientists, philosophers, and skeptics who valued intellectual rigor over dogmatic assertions. Alongside Huxley, figures such as David Hume, who lived before him, championed empirical skepticism, which undermined traditional theological arguments, and Immanuel Kant, who limited the reach of his empirical world, laid the groundwork for modern agnostic thought. Later, thinkers like Bertrand Russell and Karl Popper continued this tradition by emphasizing the limits of human knowledge and the importance of skepticism. So, what is the importance of understanding agnosticism's historical roots? As you can see, it's an old idea. Now, in 2025, agnosticism, which arose in the 1800s, is an outdated idea. Then, the sciences, the discovery of the telescope and microscope, and electron microscope, and genetics, and quantum mechanics, all these things were not there. But now we have sufficient evidence to say that there is a creator and that he is the God of the Bible. And therefore, agnosticism is inadequate, is outdated, is erroneous, because now we have sufficient evidence from the empirical sciences themselves. The empirical sciences point to God. That is why now 2/3 of scientists get to a personal God, which is a remarkable comeback for theism, because they can see that the evidence of science points to a creator that is reasonable. Using principle of sufficient reason, one can claim that there is scientific evidence for God, as in the Big Bang, the Big Bang event, which is the beginning of the universe. It is the creation event. What do you mean, beginning of the universe? It did not exist. It came into existence. That is what we mean. In other words, it was not there. It was created. It was brought into existence. The main arguments, apart from this beginning, scientific, is the mathematical theorems, singularity theorems, and fine-tuning of the universe, and the presence of dark matter and dark energy, which are fine-tuned to bring us to this of affairs. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many, many arguments based on science and empirical science, especially in biology, with Darwinism 2.0, because Darwin said, does not have evidence. It did not happen that way. Gradualism is wrong. Now science says punctuated equilibrium. It all came into existence suddenly. Again, a creation event in biological sciences, the Cambrian explosion. There, the fossil records, as well as the astronomical data, point towards theism concretely, more than it's towards agnosticism or atheism. Therefore, it is very clear that agnosticism is no more a valid stand for intellectuals. They have to learn these scientific facts which point to God. Only problem with them is they are not willing to learn. They are not willing to look into it deeply because they don't like the conclusion that God. So that is the problem. As one scientist, we don't want there to be God. Therefore, they are trying to escape. Now it's becoming more and more impossible because of the evidence. Debunking Agnosticism, a Christian critique, has been published and is available in Kindle store for free as I am speaking, or maybe it is the free run is over, but it is available. The name of the book is Debunking Agnosticism, a Christian critique. There we'll see into the factual errors, the faulty assumptions, the method errors, the epistemological errors, logical errors, agnosticism, and we'll look into the arguments of famous agnostics and why some agnostics converted to Christianity. Given the atheist philosopher Anthony Flew ditched atheism, agnosticism, and theism because of the evidence from science and DNA. So that is a book which he wrote. There is a God. How the world's most notorious atheist changed his mind. Why the world's most notorious atheist, which is Flew, changed his mind about God. So that is a book. Even though he was atheist, not agnostic, the point is that atheist agnostic spectrum needs to be ditched. So I am a believer in God based on evidence. That is the point we're making. Strong atheist philosopher has embraced theism or creator God based on the evidence. There is so much evidence. So I'm not bluffing. Okay, so you need to look into the evidence honestly, and you will be able to see that it is impossible that there is no God. There has to be a God. It's a logical necessity. It is a necessity based on the evidence. So when I was a student, so initially coming into the medical school, I'm joining, and I believe, but there is also this thing about evolution which they are told in the school. They have been attacked on Christianity, even my school. It's a Catholic school, but the teacher to attack Christianity based on evolution. That's fine. I did not take seriously, but that was my mind. But once I bought my medical books and those books and started reading at the detail, at the balance, the fine tuning of the body, of blood. First chapter, I know evolution is wrong. That's all. Physiology, get along. Textbook of physiology. Just open first chapter on body fluids, extracellular fluid, intracellular fluid. Well, all my doubts are cleared. I know exactly. Surely, evolution, it is not evolution. And even if evolution happened, it needs God. Okay, this cannot just happen. Okay, that needs a lot of faith. In other words, famous Christian book goes, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist or an agnostic. Because that requires more faith now than in God. As I said, just crack open a physiology book, anatomy book, and you will see. Evolution not be the answer. There are so many things which need to come together, so many processes, irreparably complex for a cell to occur, for every organism. That is totally impossible. One chapter, first chapter, bodies, over. All my doubts are cleared. All I wanted to know from then on is how to articulate it. I did not know how to say. I read it. I recognized the amount of information, all the details, all the processes, too much engineering. So there is an engineer who engineered the human being all of their life. There is no doubt about it. All I wanted to learn as an 18-year-old was how to communicate it. That's all. But then the internet was not yet arrived. And in a few years, maybe around 2000, there was some internet cafes they had before, and I started learning all those things slowly. And I can tell you, the more now in 2025, the evidence is multiple times more than what I had when I opened the textbook of physiology, and the doubt which was the backend was blown out by science. So the point is, there's no point in adopting atheism or agnosticism. It has no explanatory power whatever. If you're honest, you need to adopt, at least accept there is a creator. Worship him. There's no other way. That is what the evidence points to. So thank you for joining. A lot to keep going, but I just want to keep it short, interesting, and also simple. There are a lot of complicated arguments, errors, chapter after chapter of errors in agnosticism. And those are documented in the book, Debunking Agnosticism, Christian Critique. So make sure you get it and learn why agnosticism is no more tenable. It's totally an outdated idea. May God bless you and lead the truth about the Lord Jesus Christ. Grant your wish. Jesus loves you.